Welcome to a wonderful time of gathering, of discussion, of launching. We are in our launch season of, we believe, the one of the most just brain supportive, innovative institutes out there, the Lyrics and Leadership Institute. I am Janine Letford, your co-director, and
I'm Keeley Kalkimode, your other co-director.
we are building, we believe, something that's going to be monumental, something that is at the right time, for the right need, for the right moment, like a perfect storm, right? But a storm of hope, of a gathering of just love, of development, of support for multiple people from multiple generations. So we're going to have a wonderful discussion today. We have wonderful voices from different generations, different backgrounds, different just walks of life. But we all have one thing in common. We have one of these, right? We have one of these, and we have a heart. And so that's really what we are looking to develop. And so, Keeley, introduce yourself, and then I will continue, and then we'll get the conversation started.
Well, I'm Keeley Kalkimode. I'm, like as I said before, the co-director of Lyrics and Leadership. I've worked with this beautiful lady, Genein here, this genius woman, on a few things over the years. And I'm a professional dancer. I'm an actress. I'm also a producer. I just have a lot of different creative outlets and giftings and businesses. And yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of this. I believe it'll be one of your a one-stop shop or hub for brain health, brain capital, brain skills, and all of the above.
Yes, and you have talked about the key term right there, brain capital, a term that is gaining ground. Not a lot of people know it. I've done a lot of speaking and met with people from all walks of life. And they're like, brain capital, what is that? And what we want people to know, it is the combination between brain skills, such as creativity, curiosity, adaptability, resilience, right? I just got finished listening to a lecture by Dr. Daniel Goleman, who talked about emotional intelligence. And he was like, to me, resilience is from getting that heightened stage of anger or emotion or just overwhelmingness, and knowing how to get back to equilibrium, right? And so what are the training the brain, the skills and the strategies to get there? So that's brain skills. And then brain health is, of course, not just staving off brain disease and neurological issues like dementias, which involves Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cognitive decline, things like along those areas, but also optimizing the brain, right? That seems to be the discussion. Without going into too deep, what has your experience been with realizing your brain is there, and how much it's involved with just your everyday life, really bringing it to the forefront?
Well, I think we take it for granted a lot because it's just always been there, right? So you're not thinking, you're not thinking about it. I will just say for myself personally, I was hit with a lot of different things, environmental toxins, viruses, and just different things that really affected the health of my brain, which brought, I dealt with a lot of dizziness, a lot of brain fog, not thinking the way I would normally think through those times, and wondering what was wrong. So I think when you go through something like that, you're trying to figure out what in the world is affecting my brain, what is causing all of this. My equilibrium was off, so many things. So going down that road, for me is I'm really passionate about the wellness aspect, and like really thinking about the protein of the brain, like the actual, brain itself, the organ, and what could be affecting it and causing some problems there. But, and then sometimes I think we take for granted, why do I feel so good when I'm dancing? Why do I feel so happy when I'm singing? Why do I just like feel elated when I'm watching a film that, all our colors are things that I like, um, just learning more about that and how it's affecting the brain. There's something to it. And
Yeah.
all of that is going to affect the reality we walk in, we live in. the things we pursue, the things we don't pursue, and what our whole entire existence becomes, basically.
Like you said, it's in this almost, we think it's in this black box, and we don't really interact with it much, and they don't even know that much about it. The past 25 years has opened so much doors, and so that's what we're here really to talk about. And I loved how you brought in the importance of the arts and the importance of what do we know that affects it that we haven't really paid attention to, or kind of scooted off as just extra. So you and I aren't the, well, hopefully won't be the only voices building this institute. We have amazing people who I have worked with, and you have worked with over the years, who are off doing their own businesses and their own messages and their own purpose, but who also believes in this purpose of using different ways, multiple ways of getting people equipped in this future of work. So with that, let's bring to the stage. We will start with Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hello.
And Amy is one of our co-facilitators. She has taught with herself and with myself, or what, about 2 years or so. We've been interacting and learning from one another, and really introduce yourself, and then let's look at why you think this type of program is a program that has met its time.
So I'm Amy Cammey. I'm in the St. Louis, Missouri area, and I have been a professional harpist for over 50 years. And for the last 20 years, I've been involved in developing research and pilot studies looking at my solo harp CD and how it affects neurological functioning and the immune system. And so this has been like kind of my undercurrent for the last 20 years. And so the timing is just perfect right now to bring more of this awareness to the forefront, especially as research is happening with music for our wellness, for our well-being. And I'm excited because for me, it's just natural as a musician for that long, for over 50 years. Music is just part of me. And it's how I see the world. It's how I see, that's the lens. And I'm just really excited to be part of the Institute because, especially lyrics and leadership, I see any kind of expression, whether it's music or art or theater, or how we speak. It's bringing that which is within us out into the world. And then the world gets to interact, and we get to resonate. We get to learn about ourselves and each other. And there's so many layers and ways that we connect with each other. And the arts feel very intimate, personal, human. Again, it's opening so many conversations as AI is becoming involved in the arts and the creation. I could just go on and on. So I'll stop right now and just know that I'm so excited to be a part of this innovative and visionary institute that will just keep growing and growing. And like Keeley said, it'll be a hub.
Yes. And you are absolutely awesome. And just learning your expertise of the importance of music on the body, in the body, through the body, and all that. And so and you just had a TED Talk that you released as well. Yes?
I did.
What was your TED Talk about?
It was a TEDx talk from St. Louis called Building Tolerance and Empathy Through Music. And in that particular TED Talk, I introduced the concept of sympathetic resonance and how we are all individuals, just like a harp. We have all of these different strings and the unique wirings, and yet we're human. So those feelings of pain and loss and joy and pain, we all experience that. Even though our individual experience may be unique to us, the underlying energy and emotion is what makes us human. And so again, as musicians express their music, and then we sympathetically resonate with whatever they are expressing, and it helps us stay connected, and it helps us learn about ourselves and create that empathy for each other. So yeah, you can find it on YouTube, Building Tolerance and Empathy Through Music.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Did you have any thoughts about that? Because Keeley, you're a vocal musician as well.
I mean, again, I'm really lately into a lot of the really cool ways that we're learning about frequency and energy and how that has healing effects to the cells. So, like, while she's talking about the healing harpist, in my mind, I'm like, how does that work? That frequency is healing the body, and how every body part hums at a certain frequency. So all of that makes me really excited to learn more about, to understand. I'm the type of person that likes to understand why it works, because then it'll make me do it more, So yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, we obviously know that we feel better when we're hearing certain sounds, right? But why? Why is that? So that's what excites me.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, even though we're all teaching and we'll all be offering our own classes and courses and insights and gems, we all get to learn from one another, right? So it's not just, students coming to our institute to learn just from us. And I talk about that in our welcome video. In my class, I told my students, I'm not the head teacher, I'm the lead learner. So I'm learning right alongside with you. And so with that, we have Mr. Jeff. We're going to bring Jeff up to the stage. Jeff, I've been teaching with him for a few years now, working with him and just supporting. We're also, we're all kind of peer supporting one another as well, right? And him and I our first meeting, we found out what about each other, Jeff?
That we're twins.
Him and I are twins.
Yeah.
Literally, seriously.
Yeah, we're both twins. Sorry, I shouldn't say you and I are twins. We are both twins. There we go. That might clear that up for some people.
Well, we are twins. That's still grammatically
We are twins. That is grammatically correct. You are correct.
People assume that you and I are twins, but you and I are not twins, but we are both. We have two twin siblings, and we both teach young children. He, of course, trains adults now and kids. And so we had like 5 similarities. And so we love that, because that's actually what part of the mission is, us gathering together. And that's why we're starting with the music of Prince, but looking at other artists too. But Prince and his music was a gathering of people from different lived experiences, different genres, or different generations, different backgrounds, who are there for one accord. And we say Jeff and I really emulate that with us. We have a lot of differences, but a lot of similarities as well. Jeff, can you introduce yourself, and why are you here, and why are you connected to this project?
Well, I am Jeff McLaughlin with Professionals at Play, and I am a professional speaker and facilitator, former educator, did the theater, was not a great dancer, but I could sing, so they let me be on stage. But I was also a technician, so I got to fix things as the plays and actually the things were going on. So a world of experience in performance and art. Grew to love my community that practiced art of all kinds. And then love education. And it's funny, I love that you brought your brain. I actually have mine sitting out as well. And so I'm like, ta-da! Yep. I think mine's the smaller version. But yeah, so I don't know. I think we met on LinkedIn like 3.5 years ago, and we jumped on a call and we really hit it off because we had so many similarities. And I mean, from track, we were both track athletes. We both were kindergarten teachers, which is quite possibly the most fun grade to teach. Teaches you everything that you need to know about human beings and how creative we are, because you give them a problem that's impossible that adults can't figure out, and they have 10 or 20 solutions to and they just go for it because they don't know things aren't impossible. And so I love this project for a number of reasons. One, I get to work with amazing people who from different backgrounds and different professions and all the different ideas that go into making a human mind. And I get the different experiences, and we can, live vicariously through other people's stories. And I love hearing the stories of other presenters and people who are in this curriculum and who are building this amazing thing that we're building. And then I forgot where I was going to go next, because, I got gray hair. I'm getting my wizard beard here. And then I love doing the education, the teaching, and the learning from other people. And so every time I get to present, it's not great. I might be the guy on the stage, giving a message, but I'm also constantly learning from the audience, and I get to watch them. And, like Amy, I did a TEDx, I think 2 years ago, and it was all based on play, and took 500 people, where we went, how do we connect as human beings? Play is the fastest way. And I think music is another one of those. If we listen to a song and we love the song, like, you know, you say Prince, like as soon as you hear Prince, oh my gosh, the anthology of Prince songs just starts going through my head and I'm ready to dance and rock out and sing my heart out. You know, it's because it connects people. And so that connection piece from different minds from all over the world of different backgrounds, how we can be connected as human beings to make the world a better place through music. And I think Amy said that that's part of that resonance piece, right? When we're vibrating at the same frequency, there's like an empathy and a compassion for our fellow human beings. And so I'm here to learn, to contribute as much as I possibly can, to have a great time and to make wonderful connections with people, because I love to hear their stories, and everybody's got one. I just want to hear them.
Awesome. Any thoughts?
I don't know, as he was talking about music and play, I was just like imagining how much dance does that as well, especially when you have to learn choreography together and get in step. You've got to take the music, connect to it, and move at the same rhythm. Like, it's kind of like an army, right? We still have our own individual expression of that. But yeah, it just made me think of that.
Awesome. And so with that, you know, a part of our unique presentings, right? Our unique platform is we are helping people to continue their lifelong learning. I have tons of clips about the importance of that. A lot of people can't go back to a 4-year university. A lot of people may not be able to sign up for night class, 6 nights a night, right? So what are ways that they can do it on their own, but interactive? Like, how do we bring in just different ways of looking at things and different ways for them to think about things, but bring them in with things that they're already connected to? You know, if I hear one more person say Prince was a soundtrack to my life, right? It's like, oh my goodness, how, you know, like of all people. And then of course we're bringing in people like Lauryn Hill or David Bowie and things like that. Before we bring on some other voices, I want to get your thoughts on the importance of us creating, you know, these mini courses or these small snippet gems that people can learn, like a quick wisdom tidbit to keep moving in their day. But how does us using the music of these artists and having them think about it in a different way, how does that actually prevent dementia and prevent cognitive decline? I have Dr. Dean and Dr. Ayesha, who are amazing neurological or neuroscientists who are fun to watch too. And they have this to say about that.
The other interesting study is the nun study. How many people here know about the nun study? It's a very interesting study. A large group of nuns dedicated their time, their blood, their tests, imaging, as well as their writings, their diaries. And after they died, they had autopsies of their brain. In one group, they found that the brains of this one group was inundated with vascular disease and degenerative disease. Inundated. Yet prior to that, they were normal cognitively. In another group, there was much less vascular and degenerative disease, yet prior to that, they had dementia. What was the difference? So they looked at all the other variables. In research, you look at all the confounds, all the factors, because the richer the data, the larger the sample, the more likely you can figure out if there's a confound. And what they found was the only major factor that was different was in their diaries, their language, their vocabulary, idea density. And I'm trying to learn guitar. It doesn't get worse than me. But complex activities like that create cognitive reserve. So this population actually showed us that the language in your brain, the complexity of thoughts in your head, your vocabulary, how you actually pushed your brain, protected you in spite of vascular and degenerative disease.
Oh, you're muted.
And that's what we do. Any thoughts about
Uh-oh.
I think you
any thoughts about that?
you were muted and we didn't hear what you said. So about the video, thoughts about the video. It's okay. So I've spent the last year with a friend I met on LinkedIn, and we've been talking about neurodegenerative diseases and trying to come up with or look at different modes of care for people who are already in who haven't had the chance to try and prevent those diseases from happening. And one of the things that we were looking at was, number one, music, because we've often seen sometimes, you know, when somebody has Alzheimer's, they might not remember the people around them, but if they hear a song, all of a sudden everything comes back from that song. That's the power of music. It's so deep ingrained in our mind and our souls that I think that those things are almost impossible to remember. So the music aspect of it, the language, like we hear language, right? We hear songs and melodies, and music in itself is a language. It's a mathematical language, right? So we're learning and we're teaching our brains to think differently when we try and think through music. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I love to take songs that have already been written and I change the lyrics to fit whatever crazy situation I'm in. And I'm constantly singing around the house, around my friends. And they're like, where do you come up with these lyrics? Like, I'm like, I don't know. It's just in there. So I like to look at it as a creative place to play in my brain, which helps me to prevent those neurological disorders as I get older, but also just for general brain health, you know, trying to challenge myself to come up with different things. So if you like, you know, just challenging your brain to do things differently than you've done before, it's like exercising your brain. So that's what it does for me.
And that brings me to a story. Of course, I always kind of bring it back to dance because that's my love. But like my friend Stilo, who I danced with in the Groovaloos for years and years, had five aneurysms, and lived through it. But he was pretty much in a vegetable state almost for about 6 months. Literally within a few months of coming out of that vegetable state, we did Dancing with the Stars, and he was on the show. They had taken a section of his brain out, or not his brain out, but like they had to take a section of his skull out to take, you know, the inflammation, to let the inflammation go down. But he couldn't remember anything after 2 weeks. So like if he learned something 2 weeks later, he couldn't remember it. So short-term memory. But what we did on the show was a piece of choreography that he had known for the last 10 years. And so that ability to remember that choreography even put him on Dancing with the Stars within a year of having 5 brain bleeds. So it's pretty incredible what the brain holds on to.
Yeah, it's powerful. And Dr. Dean, said, your neurons, we have about 87 billion neurons, and each neuron can have 1 or 2 connections, or 30 to 50,000 connections. And so what our work is telling people is, if you want a well-connected brain, look at your behavior, look at your experiences, and increase the amount of diversity of experiences, people, concepts, idea complexity. And that's what we do. We do it through music you already know and love, but we do that so many other ways. Amy, did you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, there's several different thoughts. As far as reflecting back on the video, that was a very strong reason to start building and having this awareness while we're younger, which is something that the Institute is also encouraging. And to build those neural connects, I just see it as a weave. Every new thing is building this new, that's the neuroplasticity, right? And then starting older, it's never too late. Like taking what we know and seeing it from a different perspective, integrating another step. I mean, during this conversation, for those listening, thoughts you may be having, oh, well, that's kind of simple. That makes sense. Oh, that's just, but it's so much more. I mean, within the Institute, these ideas that seem really familiar, they're broken down into things that you may not expect. And that is the novelty. That is where that neuroplasticity happens. And they're simple things. Like once you hear some of these ideas, you're going to be like, oh, well, I never thought of that, but that's cool. I'll try it. And then you take that one step and you integrate it, and it becomes part of, the more we do it, that's the habitual, when it feels like a habit, that's when the neurons have connected. And that's when you're building brain health. And then on the other end is when you're a little bit older and you're like, well, how can I start? I don't want to start something new. Yeah. I actually had a grandmother. She was probably in her 70s. She heard me play the harp, and something inside of her was like, I don't know why, but I just need to play the harp. I've always wanted to do it. Well, have you had any musical experience? No, she couldn't read music. We were starting, whoops.
Oops.
We were starting from scratch. And she was also dealing with some trauma and pain. And we were like, and that's why she knew she had to study with me, because I kind of like integrate all of it in my teachings. But we were aware from day one that we were rewiring her brain. We were creating new neural connections. She had trouble with patterning. She had trouble with hand positions and moving, three fingers in different ways. But as soon as it would move, like we go boom, boom, take it down slow, those micro movements, boom, boom. And it was like, I would visualize, okay, this is a path. It's covered with leaves. Let's just keep doing it. And then we're clearing the path and we're building that stronger connection. And then she was able to do it. And so it's never too late. So she's learned this new language of music, and she's just grown in so many different ways. So yeah, there's so many fun ways that we can keep our brain healthy and happy and growing till our very last breath.
I agree with that. And that's why we are here. Let me see if Kenya is there. I don't see her backstage, but if we have another voice. Oh, she is here. We have, and I would love to get your thoughts on this. I thought I had the, we have another voice from another generation. I don't know when all you were born, but I am in that 79, 80 area. I think I'm Gen X, Gen Z. I don't know. Am I Gen X?
You're X.
X. Okay. I have one foot in one generation and another foot in another generation. So I'm a millennial and X, right? And we learned a certain way, right? But my mother's generation learned a certain way, and her mother's generation learned a certain way. But we have a whole flux of new bright minds coming into the workforce. They're digital natives. They've been on iPads and stuff since their childhood. And so let's bring Kenya to the stage. Hello, Kenya.
Hello.
And introduce yourself. And you are actually part of the Lyrics and Leadership Administration. You head up our social media. If please join our social media. If you see anything, then it is from her. She is sharing that. And please introduce yourself.
Yes, so I'm Kenya Ventura, and right now I'm currently a full-time student. I attend Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And so I'm studying business administration and specializing in accounting. But yes, I've known Miss Genein Letford for a really long time now. She was actually my elementary kindergarten teacher, music teacher. So I was exposed to the arts and creativity. And I remember being part of drama club and being Tinkerbell for a little act that we had, a play that we had. And so
that was not a little it was a full production, but carry on.
Full production, yes. We were all little, but the production was really mighty and tied together very well. There was lights and costumes and music and dance and memorization. I mean, man, tying all of what we were doing from just such a young age to like now and bringing it to life, like through your books, Miss Letford, like it's beautiful to witness. And so, yes, Genein has known me since I was 5, and now I'm in college. And so I help with all of the social media and the content creation for Lyrics and Leadership. And yeah, I'm happy to be here, happy to help in any way I can. And seriously, through artificial intelligence, I think using it as a tool right now, it has been very eye-opening. Just like with ChatGPT, like the newest version, all of like the resources that it offers, and it being a centralized platform that we can use and to optimize our time has been, it saved me a lot of time. I know a lot of college students, like obviously if you use it, carefully and intelligently, not to cheat your way through college, but as a resource, fact check, whatever it may be, it's definitely been just bringing content creation and ads and just social media in general to the next level. So it's been really cool to see.
And with that, I'm trying to find uh, a document that shows just the generation. So you're talking about AI, your group is coming in with AI. And I actually saw a few lectures that said, how do we keep the creativity level, which is already going down for kids, sadly going through our school system. We kind of lower your curiosity and your creativity by the time you graduate. So sorry about that. But how do we, pump that back up? That's the curriculum that we're trying to create here for your generation, but also for adults and older adults as well. This really is for everyone. With AI, and anyone can jump in, but with AI and Chat GPT, do you think that your generation is in need of this type of training that really incorporates the art, that you have to really think deeply, like the neuroscientist Dr. Dean said, that idea complexity, that perspective shifting, that multifaceted adaptation around concepts? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I think for as a student, even just like in our curriculum, professors being very strict, like unfortunately I know like a lot of students don't want to hear that, but them being strict in how much access we do have, or allowing us to use AI. I've had professors who, some of them completely eliminate the use of AI, which I don't think is like the brightest decision, just because we should be able to use AI since it is a resource, but not rely on it for an entire response. So we can use it throughout the quarter. For example, I took this architecture class, and I'm a business major, so this was just very out of my range. But I took this class, and at the end of the quarter, we had to write on a blue book a handwritten essay on like these buildings and like their structures, and when he would give us a prompt, and we had to write on it. And so a lot of students were very upset because they wanted to use artificial intelligence to write this essay, to get ideas. But I know it sounds wild, like for us complaining that we have to write on paper. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. A lot of students were upset. I mean, this class was like over 200 students, and it's like he has his TAs helping him grade. But I, for one, like I was pretty upset at first because it was another class that I had to really study for and memorize like countless of buildings and their structures and symbolism and whatnot. But I think in the end, I do thank that professor for forcing us to go back down to like those roots of no, like I have to actually understand this material and not just rely on AI, and actually write down in like essay form on paper. So I think professors who allow us to use artificial intelligence. And he even gave us a flashcard too to write down important notes there and like use it throughout your essay. But having access, but not completely eliminating it, is important, and it allows us to learn, like have that free will, but with boundaries, if that makes sense. So it's a sweet spot. It's a balance that I think students need to learn, because I mean, even just us being so upset about thinking of the thought of having like to write in paper, it was like outrageous, but it really shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Like that's how when we were in elementary school or middle school, that was the normal. And so yeah, it's just
outrageous.
Yeah, the times are definitely different now.
Before I get your response on that, because I know a few of you have something to say. This was the graph that I acquired. You can just see the silent tradition. The baby boomers is in level 2. Number 3, Generation X, which is me, and Generation Y, the millennials, and then Z. I think Kenya, you would be Z, or you would Y? I don't know.
I'm Z, yeah, Gen Z.
Yeah. Yeah. So learning style, a long time ago, classroom, but now we're looking at interactive, and a lot of play is coming up. This is what Jeff focuses on, and learning focus. I know this is really small. So if you want this, please send me an email at Genein at Cafe Strategies, or sign up for our email list. But I just love this because I think this is the way we should have been teaching the whole time, right? Why do we just leave it for our kinders to have that hands-on, interactive, musical, artistic, idea, deeply thinking aspect? Any thoughts about what Kenya said, especially about the You have to write on paper? How dare you? I pay money to come to this school.
So I'm going to jump in really quick. When you said blue book, I had flashbacks because I was born in 1964.
Yeah.
I had blue books too.
Uh-huh.
You used to go Bruins.
And my thought was, and totally judgmental, because I know like cursive, we had to write in cursive in the blue books.
Mhm.
And I don't even know if kids these days are taught cursive, you know, how to write. But there is a very fundamental connection that happens with the brain to the hand when you're writing, which is so artistic, which is the tactile expression that allows that which is within us to move through our bodies, you know, within our fingers. And so much of the technology now, it's the keyboards. Even in the creation of music or art, you know, you're literally using the technology to create, yes, but there's something I feel is lost. There's a step here. And so that is another awareness, you know, how can we get back to literally feeling safe and comfortable in our bodies to be able to express that. And again, we start then getting through the layers of the vulnerability and the emotions and the feelings and the humanness of our expressions, whatever that is, music, theater, voice, art, having conversations with each other. It's all intimately connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Any thoughts?
Well, no, we used to write so much we had that dent in our finger. I
Yeah.
still have
Yes, right.
I still have it. But yeah, I mean, there's a connection between the motor, like she said, the tactile, the motor skills of, you know, it's, to me, it kind of reminds me of anchoring. When you anchor, you connect an emotion to a movement. So even writing the shapes of the letters and connecting the words, and it literally sinking into your brain so that you really remember what it is that you just learned. Yeah, I think it's extremely important to still write and to not use UI. What is that? AI. AI, you know, so much. Yes, we can use it. I mean, we're going to get left behind if we don't use it to a degree. But it is a little concerning to me that this next generation would be able to be fully dependent on it, because how much brain health, brain capital will you lose if you're not actually going inside yourself to find the answers or to dig and study and do all those things. So there could be some detriment to your brain, not having to use it as much. It's like using, you know, working out at the gym and those muscles growing. So
That's huge.
Yeah. There's it's really interesting you say, because the muscles that you use for like working out, your brain is a muscle. Your brain is like the most important muscle in your entire body. And you're exercising your brain through that written language, through dance, through music, through studying. And younger generations, particularly Kenya, like your generation, who are digital natives, have learned to be creative on those platforms. So AI is its own creativity. And at the same time, the detriment is the dependence upon it versus, you know, when a teacher says, great, get a blue book and you're going to write this out. And kids go, or like young people go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do that. Like, why are you taking away AI? How can I do this? They're fully capable. It's just a challenge that they haven't necessarily been tasked with too much in the past. And so if you look at, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school, my boys are in middle school and high school, I still have them write letters. They have to write letters to aunts and uncles and cousins, and they, you know, trying to teach them cursive it's pretty chicken scratchy. They may have potential as doctors someday, just based off their, you know, their writing. But it's so interesting. They remember things that they wrote to people in letters. They don't necessarily remember conversations. And so it's fascinating that kinesthetic. I have a pencil in my hand. It's on the paper. My mind tells my body to do something. It fires the right muscles. I make the symbols that create the letters that are actually, you know, sounds that somebody translates into meaning for them. And it's like, it's a huge exercise in how we communicate as a human species. And I don't want to say it's being lost, but it's definitely changing. And that's I think AI has the potential to allow us to go back to being more creative. Like if you study calligraphy and you look at like the beautiful, like it really truly is art to watch somebody write something in calligraphy or Japanese kanji characters, where it's the brush stroke is perfect, and it's like almost like you're an artist when you're doing these things, and it's just fascinating. It's such a beautiful form. So I just, it's awesome.
And you remember when we used to get in trouble, we would have to write, "I will not," blah blah.
I will not.
100 times. Like, what if we tried to see how much it stuck with you if you typed it 100 times versus having to write it
Copy paste, copy paste.
Yep. All right. So with that, thank you so much for that, because, you know, in our institute, when they're doing the activities or the exercises or the reflection work, which I'll show a short video about that, and we'll quickly go over the departments as we continue our conversation. We say, you know, write your reflections in your journal. Of course, we want them to share in the online chat so other people can interact. But we, you know, write it in your journal or write it in the worksheet provided in case they don't have a journal. But we're looking to produce, you know, lyrics and leadership journals eventually, because Dr. Dean said, number one, it's important. Are you documenting your life? Are you documenting your reflections? And I don't know if any of you journal. I do. I know where mine is. But when I go back and read what I was thinking a year and a half ago, I was like, oh, I totally forgot that happened. Like, oh, wait, that connected to what happened yesterday, you know, because your mind can only hold so much information. But knowing that there is a professor at Stanford, he teaches AI and creativity, and I don't have that clip here, but I love it. But he was saying, in order for AI to be used well, and, you know, for good things, not for bad things, and ethically, and not harm our creative capacity, we have to come to AI with a level of creative thinking. That's what he said. People who do that. And when people interact with our song courses in our institute, they will hear this. Welcome to a new way of learning for a new way of living. Now, what does the music of Prince, Dolly Parton, David Bowie, and even Lauryn Hill have to do with this new way of learning for a new way of leading? Stay tuned and we'll review the whole institute and find out. Hi, I'm Genein Ledford, the co-director of the Lyrics and Leadership Institute, and we're going to review the different aspects of our institute that will gear you up for this new future of work, keep your brain healthy, and help you even prevent things like dementia. The mission of our institute is to equip you with leadership and life skills, that includes brain health, in order for you to be adaptable, creative, and resilient in any situation. Our institute consists of 7 areas that will help you stay cognitively, emotionally, neurologically, professionally, and even artistically fit. Let's jump in. The Lyrics and Leadership Institute includes song courses, Gems of Geniuses, Brain Capital Jewels, Sing-Along Sundays, The Artist's Friends Meetup, Conference Concerts, The Artists, Class of Arts and Poetry.
Oh, you're on mute again.
So it's going to be an actual institute where it has departments, you know, and we will be contributing to the departments as well. And so looking at that, what are your thoughts about something I call creative abuse? Meaning people who, and I separate creativity from artistry. They're connected. They are very much connected. But a lot of people think they're not creative because they're not excellent in the arts. And we believe the definition is your ability to problem solve or challenge solve, and challenge find, with relevance, value, and novelty. Whether it's with the arts or, you know, you're fixing a car or you're starting a business or, you know, you're engineering. And so some people have had creative experiences in their childhood or their adolescence that scarred their creative identity. Have you interacted with people that have, or some people said, I sang once in the 10th grade and someone laughed at me or said, don't quit your day job. And I haven't sang since. Have you ever heard of someone saying that, especially in dance, when you say, hey, let's dance, people are like, right? What are your thoughts about creative abuse and how can Art Institute help? Because you saw the last department in that list. It's called the class of arts. So how do we give people back their right to engage in the arts?
I'm going to jump in really quick and then I might have to jump off. We have a tornado situation here. So I just want to acknowledge that it happens all the time. Even the adult students that started, it's like, I can't play Mozart because my piano teacher scarred me when I was 10 years old. I just couldn't do Mozart right. And I have trauma every time I think about it. Over and over again, people have those kinds of stories like, oh, I can't sing. My choir director told me to mouth the words, or I think it happens all the time, unfortunately, because sometimes, in my opinion, the teachers want to inspire the best, and there's that bar of excellence that they are trying to motivate. It's like a coach, they're trying to motivate students too, without recognizing the sensitivity of the student, perhaps, or the trauma that they're actually causing. So I feel like music teachers would also definitely benefit from coming in. And a lot of times, sometimes they just pass their trauma down to their students. If they had a very, very strict teacher, then that's how they were trained. And that's what they know. And so that's what they pass down. I think the Lyrics and Leadership offers a safe place for people to try and to just explore the possibility. I know I have an issue with my singing voice, I think that I can't sing, and there's probably some proof to that, but I still want to. And so I look forward to jumping into some of those classes and trying and expressing myself in that way. So I would imagine anybody who's had any kind of artistic experience in the past probably has some trauma that kind of piggyback. But if, like Jeff's, let's just play with it. Let's just lighten up and see what happens.
Yes. And I thank you so much for sharing that. In the class of arts department, like for a lot of people who have never had a movement class or a dance class, you get the basics you've never had. And really, what does this have to do with leadership? What does our artistic identity and our creative identity, how does it affect our leading? But also, how does it affect our brain health? Here's a graphic that I've found that you can track dementia onset with hearing and vision loss. Right? And so if we, have opportunities for people to do activities that strengthen their hearing, if you're listening to a Lauryn Hill song, or you're listening to a Dolly Parton song, and you're listening for certain things in the music, you're strengthening your auditory system. So hearing health affects brain health, but it also affects your auditory perspective, right? And so we have a part of the department that helps you just get your arts classes that you should have had in the 3rd grade, 10th grade, and 12th grade, but because of whatever the school system that you were raised in or lack of didn't have, you didn't get that exposure. Any other thoughts?
I was going to say, I think the cool thing about this really is not everyone who creates art wants it to be for an audience. So I think the motivation of knowing that it's creating a stronger brain is that alone is good enough to get you, back in the saddle again, like trying things if you've dealt with trauma, because sometimes you just don't want it to be in front of an audience. Doesn't mean that you don't want to do it. There's a lot of people that sing in the shower, but will never sing anywhere else. But I think, just knowing that it keeps you healthy. Like a lot of times I talk to people about the way they eat, like maybe you don't care about an aesthetic, but think about the cells you're creating.
Mhm.
The food creates the cells that are in your body. So it's the same kind of idea. Like, you're creating a stronger brain. It doesn't mean we're going to expect you to perform in front of the whole institute or 500
Mhm.
people, but at least you're getting something out of it that's going
Yeah.
to last for a long time.
And to be Rob, wait, I want to show this really quick that you
You can
mentioned.
increase that to 15-fold. So humming, you're going to annoy everyone if you do this, increases that nitric oxide 15-fold. And there was one study that showed this guy completely got rid of his rhinitis just by humming for about 10 minutes 4 times a day. So these are simple tricks you can do. They are free, available for everyone. The humming also helps to calm the body down because we have the vagal nerve, right? Vagus nerve, vagal tone is right along here. So when you hum, you're sending signals to the vagus nerve, your body down.
Right. So yes. So if you're told not to sing or hum, and then you're missing out. Thoughts, Jeff?
Well, it's interesting because I, as part of my health journey, I started cold plunging. And one of the things we do is when we get into really cold water, we hum. Like, we'll get the water up to our neck and we will hum all together. Actually, sometimes we sing and there's sometimes cursing, but it's very synchronized. So that's just because the water's really cold. But yeah, it really does help. That humming is interesting. I had a person that I knew in college. He was an older gentleman, and I got to learn his story a little bit. He'd gone through, he had stage 4 lung cancer at one point, and he was still around. And he was like, the thing that has kept me going is that I sing in the choir. And he would come into karaoke and sing 4 nights a week at this karaoke bar. And he would come in and sing, and he goes, the reason my lungs have been able to heal themselves is because I sing all the time. And he said, the doctors were like, I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you're alive, but keep singing. That's the thing. And I was like,
we need to get that snippet.
Fascinating. Yeah.
And
the
biggest, go.
And the vagus nerve, one of the reasons to activate it with the humming, it's one of the longest nerves in the body. So it's literally, and that's why sound is so powerful too, because as the sound enters the ear and goes through it literally gets into every organ of our body. So it's like we're ingesting sound. So becoming aware of what's in our space. It's not only a vibrational component that moves through us, through our skin too. Skin is the largest organ. And so, but it always fascinated me when I realized, oh, wow, what I'm listening to is literally like getting into and affecting every organ of my body.
Just think how important that is, though, if you think about it. Like, what sounds are we listening to? What, what type of sounds are we listening to? How detrimental they could be as well. Positive, negative, so yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then with movement as well, and understanding movement with exercise and even resistance training. What does this look like?
Move quicker, react faster, and seem to stay sharp as they get older. It's not just coincidence. It's literally what's happening inside the brain. Research shows that dance improves neuroplasticity, meaning it literally improves the connections inside our brains. Freestyle dancing, memorizing choreography, and reacting to music in real time. All of that boosts memory, processing speed, and emotional regulation long term. And it's not just for the professionals. This happens at any age. But here's the part a lot of dancers miss. Strength training can supercharge all of those brain benefits even more.
All right. So we'll be talking more about that. And I know Keeley has a lot to teach on that in the Institute and leading us in different ways that we can do it. But we just want to be your one-stop shop for leadership training, life skills, but brain health, right? And creativity all around. Kenya, what are your thoughts about what your generation needs as far as professional development?
Yes, I would say pushing us to be creative. I think, especially in accounting, like this is what I do that's creative, like being part of lyrics and leadership. But within my major, of course, like within like our coursework, we have those general education requirements, those GE classes that force us to take like art. And I say force because it's literally like it's mandatory for you to take that one art class. But then there are some students who just take that class in high school, so then they don't have to take it in college. But I, for one, next quarter for this upcoming year, I want to tap into taking more fun classes. And it's so unfortunate that it's only going to be my 4th year in college that I'm able to tap into those fun classes. And so I want to take possibly a dance class or maybe a French class, just something that would force me to go out of my comfort zone and do something that I wouldn't normally have been granted in my like standard accounting, business, organizational behavior classes for my major. So I would say this is, I mean, I know that this is in the education system, but I do believe in lyrics and leadership, and just like for students, us having that accessibility and having this institute as a resource. I mean, that would be wonderful, like to be able to tap into this, because I know in these first 3 years of college, like I wasn't able to take a dance class because I was already just stacked with calculus and all of these other requirements that I needed to fulfill. So I would say this is ingrained like deeply in our education system, where we're only required to take one art class, and some students don't even take that art class in college. So then they're not even taking an art or creative class in their 4 years of college, which is just wild to me, because like I want to do dance and I want to possibly learn how to play the piano or learn French, because I know that that's going to push myself. And I mean, all of you understand that science behind like the brain health and brain capital and brain skills. And I'm just barely starting to learn the significance in it. But I would say definitely support in that aspect of like pushing us and being that example. And all three of you are, and Amy as well, of incorporating creativity in your professional work.
So good. So true. I'm going to put this up here really quick. So one of the methods that we use in the Institute is neurosomatic creativity. So how do we increase your ability to think creatively in non-arts areas? Through using the arts, right? Through better combining the mind, the brain, the body together. Like, what does that look like? And sadly, when you talk about your peers, your students not having to take any type of artistic type of classes, that's going to end up hurting them because of the landscape that AI is creating, that we are getting rid of the routine jobs, right? Routine jobs, you don't really have to think, but even the middle type of jobs, they're being replaced by AI or highly influenced. So they're saying the highly creative jobs where you have to think like an artist, being adaptable, perspective shifting, creating something out of nothing, right? Those skills are needed even more. And you get those skills from the arts because they're embedded in the arts. Any thoughts about that, Jeff or
Well,
Keeley?
if you think about it, we have the term Renaissance man, which was you had, a combination of intelligence and art and dance and singing and music and all the different things that came together to create an entire human being. Mm-hmm. If we neglect any of those things, if we neglect our creativity, it's a muscle and it starts to atrophy. And then we get to the point, whether that's through trauma or atrophy, that we say, oh, we can't do that. We can't be creative. But it's funny, if you ever ask a person, how do you solve a problem? Or if they're in trouble, how do you get out of it? They can almost always come up with an answer eventually, or they will come up with 100 reasons why they can't. That's creativity. Like, it's
That's
just
limiting.
Hey, you really, like, if you can say like, wait a minute, you just came up with 100 reasons why you can't do something. That's pretty darn creative. That's a lot. Like, let's just find one that you can, right? And so the ability to tap into different modalities or different systems of learning in your brain help your entire brain. If I only ever run, I get good at running. But if I'm forced to lift something up and I've never lifted something up, I'm going to go, I don't know how to do that. So I have to incorporate lifting, running, jumping, all the things, gymnastics. I want to be, it's a muscle that you have to exercise. And this is a chance to exercise it in a safe way with people that are saying, wait, I want to get better at that too. I want to try something. I want to try something new. I want to expand my brain, do something challenging, which, by the way, doing things that are hard for you is one of the few things that you can do that actually grow your gray matter in your brain.
Yes.
Vital to do challenging things that are hard.
Exercise and challenging things. Yes. And new and challenging things. Going further into it. You're talking about crystallized knowledge and fluid. Have you heard crystallized thinking and fluid thinking? Have you heard of those terms before?
I have not. I have not yet those terms.
Yes, well, we'll be teaching on that in the institute. But crystallized thinking is like, yeah, you know your accounting work, right? You know your multiplication tables. It's basically stuff that's set. Fluid thinking is how you are in a new situation. That's what you said, and you have to take information from this discipline and transfer it over here. So that's why I say the arts increases fluid thinking, because I'll use my sister as an example. She was a dancer as well, and still is, and a musician as well, but she's also a ER nurse, a neural ER nurse. So you're in the emergency room with brain injuries, and she says her arts background helps her be adaptable, think on the spot, figure out new ways of doing things if a patient turns a left, and all this other. So that's the fluid thinking. You're able to readjust information quickly for your situation at hand. And the arts do that. And so that's why, my heart breaks, Kenya, when you say a lot of your peers aren't having that type of fluid thinking developmental opportunities, because it's going to be key. And the last thing I want to bring up before we close, and thank you so much for being here and sharing, is also brain health with brain injuries. Kenya, are you okay with sharing your experience with that?
Yes. So when I was actually I was in elementary school, I was maybe in kindergarten. I sustained a mild concussion. I fell off the playground, and I remember just being very dizzy. I was vomiting. I was taken immediately to the hospital, and I got MRI scans. So I don't really remember much after that, but I do know that I would suffer from just continuous migraines. I think that was maybe in the 3rd grade. I would just always have migraines. And I gave up, or I shouldn't say gave up, but I stopped dancing and acting in elementary school. And once I got to middle school, I started to focus on athletics. So volleyball and basketball. High school, I played volleyball. And that period of those heavy migraines, those seasons, now shortened. It would only be maybe 3 days, or it'd be a few days simultaneously. They would come and go. And then eventually, when I was in high school, my last year of high school, I sustained another concussion during a volleyball game. And this time it was, I would say, less worse. I didn't vomit or feel as dizzy, but I remember I couldn't really remember the day it was. So then I knew that I should probably go get checked. And so I went to the hospital, and I just took a week of brain rest. I didn't do any work because I was just so exhausted. I don't remember my body feeling that tired ever. To this day, I just needed an entire week to sleep because my brain, it just was so tired. It was very strange. And you probably understand the science behind that, but it was strange. And eventually, now coming into college, I actually started weight training. And I had never weight trained my entire life until 2022. And now I don't get migraines. If I get a migraine, it is very, very rare, and it's maybe for one day, but I don't get these migraines for a long period of days. I don't get dizzy or get brain fog or any of that. I'm able to focus clearly. And like you were saying, the challenges and exercise increase the gray matter. Exercising is challenging. So it's both of them combined together. I mean, doing these very difficult workouts for an hour and a half, and then cardio and just sweating. Sometimes I dread going to the gym because I know how hard it is and how tired I'm going to be left in the end. But it's so rewarding. And I mean, I've seen the fruits of it. Now I don't get those migraines.
Before you jump in, Keeley, I'm going to show this, and then I want to get your thoughts about what she said and
those brain benefits even more. When you lift, especially when you do things like single leg work, rotational movements, or heavy carries, you're forcing your brain to build faster, more efficient pathways between your mind and your muscles. Research even shows it helps with injury resilience, faster reaction times, and better movement memory. So if you're serious about dancing longer, stronger, and smarter, it's not just about doing the combos. It's about training your brain and your body to work together. And that's exactly what dance and strength training are meant to do.
Keeley.
A lot of times, this is the wellness component. So you have all of the things that he just mentioned, but also too with lifting, when you lift on your legs, you boost your hormones, you boost testosterone, and you also increase insulin sensitivity. And when they're talking about dementia being like
type 3 diabetes,
which is an insulin resistance. So that means that your body is not your brain is not able to get glucose into the cell. So there's that component with the way you eat and things that you're sensitive to and all of that. So lifting could be also increasing your insulin sensitivity and boosting your hormones, which also helps you deal with food allergies, food sensitivities, and, sugar, glucose that could be excessive. So, keeping that in mind is extremely important when it comes to cognitive efficiency, like being able to just think straight, or the fog that clears. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and for all ages, right? Especially for women,
All
and
ages.
looking at bone density. I saw some information about that and how we need to be lifting throughout our life. It's not just for young people. It's not just for professional athletes, but it's for us all, lifting safely, and starting light, and then just getting to what you can do. But we talk about that in the Institute, but we lift to the music we love, right? We learn with the music we love. We dance, we move, we paint, and all of that good stuff. I will show this really quick, and then we will close out.
Many of our featured artists, Prince in particular, encourage their listeners to bring their own lived experiences and personal interpretations to the lyrics. Many times there was a hint of mystery, metaphors, and even a few double entendres that challenge the listener to go beyond the literal and use their imagination with the lyrical imagery. Dig, if you will, a picture. In that spirit, before we explore the song through a leadership and brain health lens, take this time for personal interaction and reflection with the song. We'll do this for each song course. You'll consider what the song means to you and your lived experience. Take note of any connections, curiosities, insights, images, or revelations the lyrics evoke for you. Here are some exercises for this opening activity. Melody meditation. Listen to the song on your own device and allow the music and lyrics to fully immerse you. Let yourself move with it. And if you can, try closing your eyes and experiencing it with your other senses as well. What emotions does it stir in you? How does it make you feel? What is the vibe or the energy levels that you sense? What images is it bringing to mind? Write down your reflections in your journal or the worksheet provided.
So that's what they'll do with every song course, because we don't want to come out there saying, hey, here's a song and here's what it means, right? And you're like, no. I know Prince spoke about that many times, but a lot of our artists believe that, like, here's what it meant to us. And sometimes he didn't even share what it meant to him, but they're like, we want people to interact with it from their perspective. And have you ever had the same song mean different things to you throughout your life? Like when you were 17 versus 27 versus 47? Any thoughts about that?
That's the ages and stages of life. You go back and you listen and you hear a lyric and you go, whoa, because it hits you differently. Like children have done that for me as I've introduced music to them, to watch them listen to certain artists and songs were like, this is really good. I like this. This is really cool. And I thought the same thing when I was their age. And now I listen to it and it's a completely different experience, even though I'm like, okay, I remember what this made me feel like when I was 17 years old. But now that I'm 49, it's very different. And I go, oh, it's where you are in life and the experiences that you've had that you bring to that song or the emotions of that song. And those emotions will change over time. So it's just, yeah, it's everything that you bring to everything that you do. It's fascinating.
Obviously being able to get into the mind of the artist as well, because when you're 10, you're not going to know maybe what a 35-year-old artist is talking about, so you're just, yeah. Or even in the sense of like understanding the skill of the musicians playing, like you may not understand that until later in life. You're like, wow, I never knew how amazing that percussion was, or, anything like that. So it's always expanding.
Yes, yes, and that's what we want to do. Going back to Dr. Dean and his work with that. So with that, I've taken a lot of your time, so I thank you so very very much. And I think that was it as far as the complexity. I just wanted to share this one last part about the 3 elements of.
So we did a study in 2018, a meta-analysis. We were co-directors of Brain Institute in Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, and we looked at all the data. We were fortunate; they sent us the data. We looked at all the data, and at the core, we found 3 very, very important factors: purpose, complexity, and challenge. Purpose comes to the stress component I told you about. When people lived around the things that made them happy, around the activities that were challenging and meaningful to them, they did better. When people did complex real life activities, they did better. What do I mean by that? Sudoku is great. I hate it, I tell you that, but it's fine. But playing guitar is different. Learning to dance is different. Volunteering is different. Running a company is different. Learning a new language is different. Going to places and testing out your language is different. All these complex real life activities challenge multiple domains of your brain. Let's take playing guitar, my thing.
So he talks about the multiple domains that your brain is using when you're playing guitar, right? So brain games are great, Sudoku is great, but if you really want to get this strong and to be on fire, not inflamed, but on fire for learning, right? Or inflamed, should I say? Yes, doing things like what we'll be doing with our students in the Institute, really, not just listening to music, but also learning how to produce music, not just looking at the art of the artist, but how do you produce art? If you were going to make your own symbol, like Prince had his symbol, what would your symbol be? Could you produce that, use the colors that you choose, and talk about that? So any last thoughts before we close out?
I'm excited just to see what comes out of this and what people get out of it, and the contributions and the stories that we get to share and hear. And especially how as our world is so quickly changing and so easily divided, how music can bring us together and really create incredibly strong connections, even virtually through a screen, right? The power of music and the power of shared challenges and knowledge and stories. It's one of the things that makes us human. It's how we are supposed to interact. And I'm excited for this course and the courses that we're going to bring as well.
I think what I'm excited about too, as well as what you were saying, is to see how it's going to grow and evolve, and all of the things that we're going to add to the Institute, and just ideas that are going to just come forth, and just in 2 years from now or 3 years from now, what is this going to look like? It's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, I would say the understanding that's going to come from this Institute, that's really exciting, especially for my generation, because when I share about what I do or what this Institute is to my peers, I mean, it sounds super just like different and new, and honestly like alien language. They're like intercultural creativity, like leadership, music skills. Like what is that? Like, what are you talking about? So I have to show them these videos and like explain to them piece by piece. So I'm excited for what my generation is going to take away from this. And I mean, yeah, I hope that they really milk these resources and these videos and tools that you're all going to be teaching, because it's exciting.
Yes. Well, thank you. And so here's just a quick layout. We are in Mighty Networks because we're creating a Mighty Network. We're bringing people together. We'll have live things where people come and you sing together, but then we'll talk about the leadership skills in that song. But we have your welcome area. We have your class of arts. So this is where you'll have your introduction. In case you didn't take music, you get to learn about music. music. You get to learn about dance, like what is tempo, what is pitch, stuff that we should have had a long time ago, but you get it with here in a judgment-free area. We have then our song courses. We have the halftime show. What are the leadership lessons that you can learn from Prince's halftime show? That is out there. That is free. Go to lyrics and then the letter N, leadership.org. You can take that course. It's just us giving you the information, but we have more interactive courses in the Institute. We're starting with Baby, I'm a Star. What are the brain health lessons and leadership lessons from this song? And of course, we have our Gems of Geniuses, 2-minute nuggets of wisdom. You learn 1 or 2 things and you go on about your day. A lot of us don't have time to watch a 15-minute, lesson, but you do have a minute here, a minute there. Listen to Lauryn Hill, look at Dolly Parton, whoever we're talking about. And Jeff and Amy and Keeley may have a wisdom nugget to share with you as you go throughout your day. Then we have, of course, the sing-along Sundays and the Brain Capital Jewels. And that is just brain capital of looking at brain sleep, brain eating well, just brain social connections, brain movement. All of the 7 pillars of brain health are in that, but we teach that through the music and the art of famous artists. So I am so excited that this will be beautiful, as our book talks about. My brain, my beautiful brain. And so did you want to quickly talk about the raffle giveaway? Kenya or Keeley?
Go ahead, Kenya.
So we have a raffle going on. We'll be giving away 2 paintings because it's Prince's birthday, June 7th. And there are the paintings. Thank you, Jeanine, for showing them. You have to be following us. You have to comment and tag 3 friends. Comment your favorite Prince song. And probably repost the story or the post that we have on Instagram as well. But it's on all platforms. It's on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So make sure to follow those social media platforms because we have so much exciting content. Yes, TikTok as well, and YouTube Shorts. The list goes on. There's so many, but I mean, Keeley just did a great video on dance element number 2. So that was awesome. But yeah, make sure you enter the raffle, comment, like the post, repost it, and comment your favorite Prince song.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We have to call it a giveaway because you can't use the other R word around the world.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Tuition, if you do it yearly, it's only $19.99. We did it on purpose. $19.99 a month. It costs more to take a family of 4 to McDonald's, which you should not be going to McDonald's, but it costs more to do that. So I was talking to Jeff, like Jeff and I both charge, and Keeley both charge thousands of dollars for like a 1-hour keynote. So to get the wisdom from us 4 and all of it, and Amy and all of the other speakers and teachers for $20 a month is a steal. But we are going into the nonprofit status. So this is our gift back to the community. So please be a part of the community. Reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much, Keeley, Jeff, Kenya, Amy, Jennifer, who's been doing a lot of Hope, and our CEO, Monica Montoya, and the whole teaching team as well. This is the beginning of something huge. And as Keeley and I always say, we'll see you
in class.
We'll see you in class. And so I'm just going to leave. You're more than welcome to exit, but I am just going to leave with our main video, and then that is it. There we go. Is this it? Let's see. I don't know where it is. Let me see.
I don't know.
Was that it? No, that's too long. Let me see. No, that's the old one. I don't know. Where's the welcome video? Okay, I think this is it. Let's try that. See you soon.
Welcome to your Lyrics and Leadership Institute. Lifelong learning is now a must, so let's have fun while doing it. Hi, I'm Genein Letford, your co-director for the Lyrics and Leadership Institute, and this is where you will learn, be challenged to grow, strengthen your brain against dementia while connecting with others who admire the music, the art, and the wisdom of iconic artists like Prince, Dolly Parton, Lauryn Hill, David Bowie, Bob Marley, and yes, even Beethoven. This experience isn't just us directing content at you to memorize and regurgitate, but it's all of us gathering to build a community and a learning experience together. It's a dialogue, a creative, thought-provoking dialogue that will help you get from here to there in life. Meaningful, growth-oriented conversations with fellow music lovers is what you'll find with us. When I taught in my classroom, I would tell my students, I'm not the know-it-all teacher. I'm the lead learner. I'm learning right along with you because I'm learning from you as well. And this is true for your Lyrics and Leadership community. Get ready for a new way of learning, for a new way of leading.
The top leaders today, they know how to improvise, adapt, and have flexibility. With the influx of AI and machine learning, developing your people skills, emotional tools, and creativity is now top priority.
It is, and that's why we're so excited to be launching the one-of-a-kind Lyrics and Leadership Institute that uses the work, songs, and life lessons of famous artists to build your 21st century leadership skills.
And who should launch this initiative? No other than the genius of Prince.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Hi, I'm Genein Letford, the co-founder and co-director of the Lyrics and Leadership Institute. And I'm also the inaugural winner of the Grammy Museum's Educating Through Music Award, the 2015 California Charter School Teacher of the Year, and the winner of the Los Angeles Music Center's Bravo Arts Award for using the arts to teach academic and life skills. So this is my jam.
And I'm Keeley Kauki-Molde, the co-director of the Lyrics and Leadership Institute. I'm an international dancer, choreographer, actress, and producer. I've worked with artists such as Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, and Janet Jackson, and I've appeared on Dancing with the Stars, So You Think You Can Dance, and I was on Legally Blonde, just to name a few.
You've been busy.
Yes.
So because of our extensive background in brain-based teaching and interactive corporate training, we understand the needs of the workforce to equip people like yourself with the top 21st century leadership skills, such as
Creativity,
curiosity,
adaptability,
emotional intelligence,
growth mindset,
self-awareness,
and resilience.
But the normal lecture style training, you know, the boring voiceover PowerPoints, they're just not cutting it.
Yeah, they're just not working. And that's why we've created these fun arts-based interactive courses. So you can learn these vital skills in a deeper, more meaningful way.
From artists you already know and love.
We have some of the nation's top teachers, facilitators, and artists here for you. And it's for everybody. It's not just for corporations and universities. Everyone is welcome.
Everyone. And in response to the loneliness epidemic and the need for connection, we're also building a community of people who love the featured artists, such as Prince. And they also love to learn, to grow, and become more creatively successful.
So how are we doing this?
Good question. I'm glad you asked. We have online courses, arts-infused conferences, and a network of communities for lifelong learning, growth, and brain health.
And all of this is driven by the work of famous artists
like Prince.
Wait, I could learn professional and personal skills by dancing to Prince and singing to Prince and then learning about his lyrics in new ways?
Why, yes. Yes, you can.
And are these online courses and the learning community just for people who really love Prince?
No, not exactly. If you've loved Prince since his very first album, before I was even born, then yes, of course, this institute is for you. But if you kind of know a little bit about him and only maybe sing to his very top songs like Purple Rain in 1999, then this learning experience is also for you as well.
And even if you have no idea who Prince is, but you just really love learning new things in new ways to increase your self-awareness, creativity, and your brain health, then this community is also for you.
Come join us to hear your favorite songs, plus also hear songs you've never heard before, and learn from the stories about his life, his struggles, and his triumphs, and of course his leadership that will help you upskill in this new future of work.
So, stay connected. We're introducing this unique program with a free course,
which teaches leadership skills from Prince's Super Bowl halftime show.
So join our mailing list to be a part of our very first Lyrics and Leadership community. Let's get ready to learn, grow, and go crazy.
We'll see you in class.